What is up, everyone? Jacobi here. Welcome. It's a. Was that frog? I don't know if you guys saw that. That was. Okay. Sorry. Uh, it's a damp Saturday morning, and I hope you're all having a great whatever time of day it is when you listen to this. If you're not, hopefully it gets a little better or that tomorrow's better. So, for today, I don't know that this is going to be like an episode a day sort of a situation, but it's still fun and exciting at the moment. So we'll probably get a few bam, bam, bam right off the bat, and then it might slow down maybe every other day or so. I usually work Monday night through Friday night, so these will probably come out Tuesday morning through Saturday morning. Just as a heads up for you, give you something to listen to, something to kind of zone out. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you're driving along and just kind of feel like it'd be nice to listen to somebody kind of ramble. And I did actually have a topic that I wanted to talk about today, which is what I wish I knew before getting into the trucking industry. Um, One of the common misconceptions is that the truck drivers are real dumb. Like, I don't think most people would point at a specific truck driver and go, he is a truck driver, he is dumb, or she, you know, plenty of women truckers. But I think it is pretty common to kind of think of truckers in general as not very intelligent. And for that matter, any sort of a blue collar position, right? Be that construction workers or um, roofers. And I think just one of the nice things to keep in mind, nice in the sense that, like, you want to be a nice person, not like, oh, this is real nice to, you know what I mean. Something important to keep in mind is there are dumb truck drivers. There are dumb construction workers. There are dumb roofers. There are dumb office workers. There are dumb CEOs of companies. There's dumb people everywhere. But there's also lots of really smart individuals. And that doesn't necessarily mean everybody's going to agree. Hardly. But, like, if you bring up a specific topic with the right person, regardless of the industry that they're in, they might be amazingly gifted and be able to speak at length about that topic for ages and ages. I had one guy that I worked with, and like he did a good job, but I thought he was just dumb as rocks. So that's fine. You know, he worked hard, kind of kept his head down, didn't have a lot to say about anything until one day it came up where we, for whatever reason, were talking about like engine repair, which I have no idea about. And he had a whole lot to say. And come to find out, he can completely tear apart an engine, one of the big diesel truck engines, tear it apart, remill cylinders and headers. See, I'm not even sure that that's the right word. But like he knew the theory behind it, he knew the practical application behind it, and he frequently went out and did whatever thing. And like that's kind of the thing to remember. I don't know that he actually said it, but it's one of those quotes that's like commonly attributed to Einstein, where if you judge a fish, I'm going to mess it up. If you judge a fish on its ability to climb a tree, it's going to think it's a failure or an idiot or something to that effect. And I mean, kind of the way I interpret that is everybody is, almost everybody, is going to be a genius at something, right? Like, that guy. And the whole time I would be talking just in the office about like, oh yeah, here's how we do the routing for our terminal, and here's how we do, because sometimes I'll help out in the office and do like management stuff and explaining like the computer system to someone else, or how the truck GPS system kind of works. Or I was an electrician ages ago, and so I can talk about, oh yeah, you should do this when you're wiring up a new circuit, or you can do it this way, or maybe this way would be better because then you can have 2 3-way switches, and you know? And he would just do like a mouth breather stare, like I was speaking Greek. But I expect I kind of did the same thing when he got started on talking about repairing engines. So, regardless of the industry, you know, he's a truck driver, but he could do something else. But for whatever reason, he's a truck driver. Like I said, I used to be an electrician, but I drive a truck. I I've done a lot of jobs. Uh, I worked at PayPal for a few years. I worked at a group home for at-risk youth and basically had a 24/7 shift. I lived there, and the kids lived there, and it was supposed to be like reintroducing them into a family unit type of situation. And as well as my wife and kids. So we would, take these kids that some of them were supposed to have gone to like prison. I'm not going to go into details for, privacy, but uh, basically the judge was like, okay, you can go to prison or you can go to this group home. And some of them chose the group home. So we welcome them into our house and basically just try and rehabilitate them, teach them normal kid skills. Because, I mean, like, you look at some of these kids, and I don't want to assume about their situation, but like they're being the parent to their siblings, sort of thing. They might not be able to drive yet, but they're raising their little sister, let's say. And they can't get a job yet, but they're supposed to somehow provide for that sibling. Because the parent is what? Not there, or trying their best, but just the way their situation worked out, can't do much. Or they're in a ton of debt or something. Or maybe the parent is working all the time, so money-wise they're doing well, but the kids are just left home. And so like we would get these kids and they come in and try and say like, okay, well, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to have all of you guys do this, except they're all in the same situation. They're all used to being the person in charge. And we expect it. So we listen and say, okay, actually, here's how it's going to go. And I remember like some of the best times that we had. We played hide and seek with like these teenagers, and they had a blast. And it was I had younger kids at the time, and it was something that they could participate in, and it was great. It was very stressful for my wife and I because we literally lived there for years. And yeah, we got days off, but days off usually were okay, you can take the afternoon off. You're going to still probably be around the house, but yeah, you can have 8 hours off. And yes, we could take vacations or we could uh, take additional time, but it wasn't easy or regular. But it was a meaningful, obviously impactful job. And obviously, I don't work there anymore, but we still have relationships with some of these kids. And they'll still call us. Usually, my wife. She was very much more personable with them. But like they'll still reach out to us if she puts a picture on Facebook or something. 10, 15 of them will within an hour give it a heart or something, you know? And that's really cool to see because if we put in all that work and they all just disappeared, that would feel kind of like a letdown, right? But having them still reach out to us or like they may ask for advice from time to time. It's not our job anymore, but it's not anybody's job to answer a question when somebody walks up and asks you. It's just a nice thing to do. So that's pretty neat. Um, what else have I done? I did computer repair for a while. I worked at a fish store for a while. Like a pet store, but specifically for fish and corals and invertebrates. Um, and somehow we got some frogs at some point, and they were like tree frogs, so they all climbed out of their little uh, container. So we just had frogs around the building, and they eventually just stayed. Like we try and find them and put them back, but eventually it was, this isn't gonna, we're never gonna find all of these frogs. So that was always funny. Just you're walking around. Oh, time to clean this fish tank. Oh, time to do a water change. Oh, this customer wants this sort of fish. And you go to reach for whatever tool, and there's just a frog right there. You know, what? Where did. Okay. I did car sales for a while. I did like hotel reservations, like in a call center. I've done the worked at a pizza place a couple times. I worked at a pharmacy, like as a pharmacy tech, I guess. Like, I've done a lot of different things, and those are just actual jobs that I've done, and I'm sure I'm missing some. But then you got hobbies as well. So maybe somebody's really really interested in uh, making tables, but they don't do it for a job. They do it as a hobby. Why is that what I went with? But they know all about the different types of wood, and well, you can make a table out of pine, but it would look a lot nicer using maple or poplar or cherry. And yeah, you can just do a sheet of plywood and some 2x4s, but if you instead were to do a pocket joint, pocket hole into this sort of joint, then it would look a lot nicer. Like, that's not their job, but they can talk your ear off about it. I think that's really cool. I think it's important to kind of recognize that in people because it's really easy just to go, oh, you have this job right now? Okay, then this is who you are. And, like, for example, I drive a truck, but I know a little bit about making videos and recording audio. And sorry, my voice is shaky because this road's just a little bumpy. Like, I don't even know that it'll show up on the video, but I think you can definitely hear it. I know a little bit about programming. I know a little bit about kind of like a user interface sort of a um, design standpoint. As they say, just enough to get me in trouble. But like as I kind of talked about yesterday, um, you might not feel like a professional even if you get paid to do something. Like that's a perfect example. I got paid to be the fish guy at a pet store, the freshwater fish guy. And I would do saltwater stuff as well, but like I was the freshwater guy. And I would do stuff wrong for sure. But people would look at me and they would say like, "Oh, he's the expert." And from my side, I'm like, "Well, I just do this as like a hobby and I happened to get a job here because I saw it. I was like, "Oh, that sounds neat. I like doing that." And I'd be upfront with people. They'd say, "Hey, I need this type of a freshwater plant. Will that interfere with this sort of water parameter? Or will this fish do well with this fish in this situation?" I don't know. Maybe. There's a lot of factors. And even if I knew every single little data point for it, I might not know even then. I'd previously recorded like this video and was trying to upload it, and somewhere in the middle there it got deleted. So I figure I can go over those topics again if I remember them. If not, not a big deal. Maybe they'll come up later. But let's talk about some pet peeves while driving that I notice other people do. And one of these is going to uh, kind of shoot myself in the foot about not all truck drivers are dumb. The first is like if you're on a 2-lane highway, I always get it mixed up. Um, I think like what I'm on right now, this is considered 4-lane because it's 2 on my side, 2 on that side. But I feel like it should be I have 2 lanes. That's a 2-lane highway. But I think it's considered 4-lane. 4-lane divided highway. But you know, for a road like this, it's not as bad. But specifically on like a 2-lane highway where you've got your lane and oncoming traffic has their lane and that's it, and you're just right next to each other, where you don't turn off your high beams. And I get it. People make mistakes. It's an accident, forgot, whatever. It still annoys me. I think that's okay. But I don't think it's everybody that does it forgets every time. I think some people might just be jerks. Or haven't thought about it. But where they don't turn off their high beams, right? You're driving along. For me, I'll turn on my high beams when no one's around, or at least no one's in front of me. And you see a car coming, you see a truck coming, you turn them off. Just go back to regular headlights. And I think a lot of people don't realize that even though semi trucks are like higher up, high beams are still really bright. And I probably can't see what's happening if you've got your high beams on still. So that's frustration number one. Number two, like on this road right here, if there was a car broke down on the shoulder or whatever, obviously you want to move over. I guess that's frustration two, is people not moving over. But so number three, let's say traffic's heavier. Right now, there's the guy in front of me, and I mean, there's a truck way back there behind me, but that's it. But if traffic's heavier, I might put on my turn signal and just to signal my intention. I haven't moved around at all. Kind of like I did there. You turn the turn signal on ahead of time, and then you go a little bit, and then you move. You make sure it's clear, etc. But like in heavier traffic, people will like flash their lights at you, and I think it's supposed to be like, hey, heads up, I'm right here. Don't come over yet. I'm right here. And I get that concern. Definitely. But or they'll honk, which they're all the way back by my tandem, so I can barely hear you at all. But like if a truck does that, that means come on over. Like he might be coming up doing what 5 miles an hour faster than I am. But if he flashes his lights, then that's kind of saying like, hey, come on over, I'm going to slow down. And then I know that means head on over. We're good. Uh, and that can be either flashing as high beams, or I'll show you here, doing like this, just flashing the headlights. And then, the proper response is on trucks, you can flash the trailer lights in a very similar way. It doesn't turn off your headlights, it just turns off like the back of the truck. I would show you, but obviously I can't. But similar to the headlights, where if for whatever reason you can't do that, you can just flash high beams, and it's a little bit more annoying, but stuff happens. I had one truck that I drove for a while where if you turned the wipers on at all, then you couldn't turn off the headlights. And there wasn't a button to do it. They were just on until you turn the truck off. Because it's like a safety thing. But maybe it rained at the beginning of my trip, and now it's been 4 hours, and it hasn't rained for 3 hours and 45 minutes. It seems a little unreasonable. But, so like that's a case where I wouldn't be able to flash the headlights, so I would use high beams instead. If for whatever reason you can't flash the trailer lights, you can use the four-ways or the hazards, the red triangle button for most people. And that's the proper response. It's kind of like a thank you for letting me over, or thank you for slowing down, or thanks for the heads up. And it's just 2 or 3 blinks, either with the trailer lights or the four-ways. That means thank you. I'm going off on a tangent. If you turn them on and they stay on, that means something crazy's happening ahead. I'm probably slowing down. Back up, right? I mean, that makes sense. They're called hazard lights in addition to four-ways. And there's a lot of obviously nonverbal communication that happens with trucks and truck drivers. Because at the end of the day, we all just want to make it home safe. We want to get home to our families or pets or bed, whatever the case may be. Everybody's just trying to get through the day, so generally we all try and work together. But so to get back on point, I flip on my turn signal, right? Because I want to move into the left lane. And there's somebody right next to me. Well, most trucks won't do this, but I've seen a lot of cars do it where they'll rapidly flash their high beams. As I said, kind of as a, hey, don't come over, I'm right here. But to me, that means, hey, come on over, I'm going to slow down and get out of the way. And like that's an established between truckers thing. I'm not saying everybody should know it, but maybe it'd be good to have that be something that like people are told, oh, you're 16, here's your license. Also, heads up, if a truck flashes his high beams at you or turns off his headlights a couple times at you, that means come on over. And as a thank you, you can pop on your four ways just for a couple blinks. And that just means thanks a bunch, guy. But people don't know that. So that's frustration number whatever one. What about you guys? What sort of driving frustrations do you have? How about trucks being governed? I still get annoyed about that when I'm in my personal vehicle. Most trucks that are driving, they can only go a certain speed. So speed limit here is 70, and I can only do 67 miles an hour. That would be pretty frustrating in heavier traffic where people just can't go around me. Right now, it's not so bad because, like some trucks, one company I drove for, they decided that 62 was the fastest that they needed to go. And driving around in Texas, I can't remember where I was in Texas, but I think the speed limit was like 80, 85, something like that. That was wild. Where I'm doing almost 20 miles an hour under the speed limit. I think it was near Houston on one of the tollways out there. I think. It's been a long time. But people were not very happy with me. And, I just kind of shrugged. I'm doing my best. I don't want to be doing 62 here either, but trying my best. How about trucks going real slow up hills? Seems like they're doing fine. Just on a flat piece of highway. And then all of a sudden you just go up a little teeny tiny little hill. That truck starts slowing way down. I mean, that's just physics. But it annoys me as well as the truck driver and as the person in the car behind him. But you think about it, you've got 80,000 pounds of stuff, and all of a sudden now you have to go up a hill. That takes a lot more work. For example, I was out in North Carolina one time, and in the mountains there, coming up to the mountains, I was doing 62 the whole way, and then start going uphill, and very quickly I had to drop down. I think I was managing barely like 15 miles an hour in some spots going up this hill. And, you know, then you kind of crest over it. And then you've got the opposite problem coming down the other side. And that's obviously significantly more dangerous. Going up the hill, that's annoying, but, you know, nobody's gonna, I suppose, there could be a circumstance where something bad could happen, but largely nothing bad's gonna happen because the truck's going slow in front of you, right? It's just annoying. But coming down the other side, your brakes can stop working because I think the term is glazed. I know that means something different to quite a few different things that can mean. But in this case, maybe it's not the right word either. But basically, like, I mean, the brakes just stopped working. And for like a lot of those hills or mountains on the downward side, so both sides, but on the side that's going downhill, they'll have, what were they called? Runaway ramps or escape ramps or something. And that's bad news. If you go into that, you're going to have a bad day. But the other option is if you don't, it's going to be worse for everyone, including you. So, I guess answering that, trucks going slow up hills. I get it. I agree. It is what it is. Can't really be helped. Trying our best. Oh, there's a good example of an annoyance. People who, like this guy right here, just deciding to live in that left lane. I mean, I was always told that's like the fast lane or the passing lane. Like that guy right in front there got in the right lane. He's passing the truck, so he moves over. I'm not sure how much of that you guys can see, but gets over, and then once he's in front of the truck, he should move back over to the right. And that's how I was always told it's supposed to be. Regardless of how many lanes you have, if there's no one around, be in the right lane. Right? Because that's the traveling lane. And then the left is the passing lane or the fast lane. And if you have 3 lanes here, be in the right lane. And then the left 2 lanes are the fast and super fast lane. How about this one, where and this is in a truck or in my personal vehicle. I'll be driving along. Oh, okay, we've got a vehicle in front of me. I'll move over to the other lane to pass them because they're doing 5 miles an hour under what I'm doing. 15 miles an hour, doesn't matter. I'm moving faster than they are, so okay, that's fine. Do you, bro? But you get up next to them and they'll speed up and speed up to above what you're doing. So, okay, go ahead then. Maybe you just forgot or didn't notice that the speed limit changed. You get back in behind them and they slow back down. That's a big frustration. But yeah, anything else you guys can think of? Any other complaints? Oh, uh, this one probably not many people have noticed except for truck drivers. But I see it enough that it's definitely a thing and it annoys me. Where, like, and it's specifically not every time, but almost always it's other truck drivers. And they'll just, like, in the fuel islands, like where we go to fuel up at a truck stop, at a, wherever, where you get fuel, they'll have a specific and labeled entrance and exit. And more frequently than you would imagine, you'll see just some truck going the wrong way. And so everybody has to move out of their way because they're super important. They can't be bothered to read exit only or enter only or do not enter. Nope. I gotta go here. I gotta do this. This is the best choice for me right now. And it just feels like very entitled. You know what I mean? But usually it doesn't hurt anything, it's just annoying. So I usually just roll my eyes. Go, oh, okay. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Do you like hearing stories like that? Like me going up through the gorge in North Carolina, or making everybody mad in Texas? Yeah, every person in Texas was mad at me for that. To pull a quote, people were driving by looking at me like I was some old, blind, deaf dog driving a truck. And instead, it's just a normal guy trying his best. Not an exact quote, but the idea is the same. But yeah, guys, I think this was fun. For me, at least. I don't know about for you. Maybe it's boring. If you do like it, hit that thumbs up. If you want to get more of it, please feel free to subscribe. Be happy to have you. Say probably more of these are going to be coming out. Just because it's something to do. But with that, I will leave it for you guys. And hope you have a great rest of the day, great tomorrow, great everything. All right, I'll talk at you later. Be safe, guys.